Let's start by testing your existing body language skills and knowledge. Always good to know your starting point. Let's begin. First question, how much of our communication is nonverbal? Is it 20 to 30%, 40 to 60%, or 60 to 90%? The answer is C, 60 to 90%. Researchers find that nonverbal signals account for 60 to 90% of our total communication. Yet most of us have no idea how to use our body language to communicate effectively. No longer. Next question, true or false? Someone's verbal message, the words they use, is more important than their nonverbal message, the body language they use. This one is false. Most people tend to think and act like verbal, or the words they use, are the most important part of their message. But watch this. If I say, "I'm so happy to be here," you're likely to believe my nonverbal over my verbal. I don't look or sound happy to be here. When someone is presented with two conflicting messages, we tend to believe the nonverbal over the verbal. That's because it's easy to lie with our words and much harder to lie with our body language. So as humans, we tend to look at someone's body language to sense the truth. If someone says, "I'm fine," we look to their face and their posture to see, do they look fine? If not, we don't believe it. If their body language aligns, like, "I'm fine," we are more likely to believe the words. This is why it's incredibly important to prepare for how you're going to say something just as much as what you're going to say. In this course, my goal is to align your verbal and nonverbal signals to the world. I think this is the definition of authenticity. People who are seen as authentic match the words they use to their body language. This also means putting more stock in your nonverbal messages. The reason most people are not as successful as they like is because they forget about the power of their body language to support their ideas. That's why you are here. We're going to activate your superpower. Next question. Which of these smiles is real? A or B? A is the real smile and B is the fake smile. You can tell the difference by looking at the upper cheek muscles. We will learn more about this in a later lesson. Anyone can fake smile on the bottom half of the face. A fake smile looks like this. "Yeah, I'm so happy for you." No activation in those upper cheek muscles. Here's what's important. You should be able to spot a fake smile and decode it. But you also want to make sure you are not accidentally showing a fake smile. Remember, we do not like people who don't have aligned verbal and nonverbal. If you say you are happy but show fake happiness, it immediately rubs people wrong. Next question. Leaning forward 2 to 3 inches will A, improve your sense of smell, B, activate the motivation part of your brain, C, make you look taller. Leaning is a super interesting cue we will learn about more. B above is correct. Leaning activates a specific part of your brain that makes you feel more motivated. In one amazing experiment, researchers found that when they asked participants to lean forward, they had increased neural activation in the left frontal cortex. This is the part of our brain associated with desire and motivation. Leaning creates an eagerness to move towards something. The control group, who was asked to lean back, didn't exhibit any increased activation at all. We will talk about how to both use and interpret leans in the module on how to captivate and connect more quickly. Next question, true or false? All body language cues are universal. This one is false. Many body language cues are universal, and in this course, I will be focusing on those so that no matter where you live in the world, you can still benefit from the knowledge. But of course, there are some cultural differences. For example, while hand gestures are seen as universally engaging, Italians tend to use more hand gestures than Americans. In India and Pakistan, people use nodding differently from Western cultures. In certain Asian and Middle Eastern cultures, making eye contact with superiors is considered rude. In America, it's considered rude not to make eye contact with superiors. Luckily, there are more similarities than differences in nonverbal behavior across cultures. Researchers conducted a meta-analysis of 97 studies and found that emotions are universally recognized at better than chance levels across cultures. Not surprisingly, people were more accurate at detecting emotions expressed by others in their same national, ethnic, or regional group. This tells us that you have an in-group advantage when you're decoding cues, and a distinct disadvantage when you're decoding cues of people outside of your group. All the more reason to get clear on cues and their meaning so we can equalize our decoding abilities. Whenever possible, for the purposes of this course, I will stick to universally recognized cues. If there's a strong cultural difference, I will note it for you. Next question. Blank is a universal listening cue. A, smiling. B, resting your chin on your hand. Or C, a head tilt. A head tilt, C, is a universal sign of engagement. If I say, "Did you hear that?" you're more likely to tilt your head to the side and expose your ear. Head tilting is a physical manifestation of trying to hear someone better. We will talk about how to use the head tilt to be more charismatic later in the course. Next question. What does this face mean? A, intensity. B, boredom. C, sadness. This face depicts a body language cue we will learn called a lower lid flex. When we want to see something better, we narrow our eyes by hardening our lower lids. We do this for an interesting biological reason. When we widen our eyes, usually when experiencing emotions like fear or surprise, it allows us to see more. If we're afraid, we want to take in as much of our surrounding environment as possible to assess for potential threats or escape routes. When we narrow our eyes, it blocks out light so we can see greater detail. Because of this, a lower lid flex literally shows someone you're trying to understand them better. We will talk about how to use this cue later in the course. Next question, true or false? Facial expressions are contagious. This one is amazingly true. One study found that as soon as we see another person's facial expression, the muscles in our own face activate and subtly mimic it. Where it gets really interesting, mirroring someone else's face can cause us to feel the emotion they are transmitting. Researchers found that people caught moods within only 5 minutes of being near one another, even when they were working on different tasks. Simply moving our facial muscles in the positions of expressions like sadness, fear, or joy activates our own autonomic nervous system to feel the simulated emotion. Your nonverbal cues can change other people's physical responses. Crazy. Next question. Improving your body language will increase your A, social and emotional intelligence, B, IQ, C, endurance. Interestingly, the ability to read body language is related to your emotional and social intelligence, making A true. The better you're able to spot and interpret emotions, the more emotionally intelligent and perceptive you become. The better you're able to communicate both verbally and non-verbally, the better your social intelligence will be. This course will help you with body language, yes, but it will also have so many positive side effects, like improving your empathy, your EQ, and your social intelligence. Next question. A handshake should be A, less than 3 seconds, B, about 3 seconds, or C, more than 3 seconds. Now, not all cultures handshake, but for those that do, A, less than 3 seconds is ideal. One study even found that when people did a longer than 3-second handshake, it created awkwardness, a less enjoyable interaction, and less laughing. This very simple rule could save you so much awkwardness. We will go into depth on handshakes later in the course. Next question. When doctors use positive nonverbal cues, patients, A, disclose more honestly to their doctor, B, feel better about their care, C, have more recall of information, or D, all of the above. Amazingly, the answer is D, all of the above. Patients of doctors who use positive nonverbals also have better overall health outcomes, more compliance, and rate physicians as more warm and competent. Okay, great job. How'd you do? We will be diving into so many surprising learnings in the next few modules. Now let's wrap this up with a challenge. I will be ending every video with a few challenges for you to activate your learning. These are all optional, but I highly recommend doing as many as you can as soon as you can. The only way to activate your knowledge is to put into practice everything you learn. For this video, I have only one challenge. Skip ahead to the end of the course and take the final assessment. Take a snapshot of your starting score. Then at the end of the course, we will see how much we can get your score up. I always love a personal challenge. Okay, go take the test, and then I'll see you in the next module.